So you have just done your MBTI test and you know your MBTI type and 4 letters. Now what? MBTI is a great conversational starter. It's entertaining to look at the different memes and watch videos of the different personality in different situations. But how does knowing your MBTI type help you in your personal growth? What are the practical applications of MBTI? And if you find out you are a certain MBTI type, for example, you are an INFJ like me, and you read all the challenges about INFJ and you don't like it, is that the end? In this video, we'll answer this question and more. So let's go. Okay, so after you do your MBTI test, you will get 4 letters like INFJ, ESTP. People don't think MBTI is useful because they don't study cognitive function. MBTI is more than these 4 letters, and the description you read on popular website like 16personality.com. I did my MBTI test when I was in college, and I received this booklet called Introduction to Type. And inside this booklet, right, it actually tells you the different cognitive function. And most of us don't pay attention to this cognitive function. In this video, I'm going to talk about the cognitive function, but I'm going to give a simple overview of the functions. I'm not going too much in depth, or some of the personality types is going to fall asleep watching this video. So there are 8 cognitive functions in total. If you just take a look at the NSFT, right, they are both the introverted and extroverted function. Like N, intuition, that is introverted intuition. Extroverted intuition. Sensing, that is introverted sensing. Extroverted sensing. Feeling, that is introverted feeling. Extroverted feeling. And thinking, that is introverted thinking and extroverted thinking. So all 16 personality types have different orders. You don't need to know how is it derived. You can just refer to the image in my blog post. The link will be in the video description below. The J and the P just tell you which order the cognitive functions is. Knowing the first 4 functions of your MBTI type and the different opposite pairing will be very beneficial to you. As a beginner, you don't need to know all 8, but it'll be interesting and helpful to your relationship and to understand other people if you know the other 4. So for example, INFJ has the cognitive function of introverted intuition as the first one, then extroverted feeling as the second one, introverted thinking as the third one, and extroverted sensing for the last one. ESTP has the same first 4 cognitive functions, but they are of different order. So their extroverted sensing is the first one, followed by introverted thinking, followed by extroverted feeling, and lastly, introverted intuition. So if we take a look at another personality type like ENFP, the cognitive function is extroverted intuition, followed by introverted feeling, extroverted thinking, and introverted sensing. The order NFTS is the same, but they differentiate by introverted and extroverted, and that makes a lot of difference. If you take a look at this, you will see something very interesting. The introverted function alternates with the extroverted function. Just like ENFP, how the extroverted function alternates with the introverted function. Everyone has access to both the introverted and extroverted function. We need both functions to survive in this world and keep us sane. No matter how introverted you are, you still need your extroverted function to connect with the world outside. And no matter how extroverted you are, you still need to go inward and explore your inner world so that you create a more balanced life. In this video, I'll mostly use INFJ as an example because I'm an INFJ and I know this personality type the best. The first thing you can do with an MBTI type is about balance, or rather counterbalance to prevent overheating. Even though your dominant cognitive function is your most preferred function, if you use it too much, it can often lead to what I call overheating. Imagine yourself walking on a tightrope. If you use too much of a function and you are going off balance, what you want to do is to counterbalance, redistribute your weight so that you can balance yourself and walk. To do so, you need to understand opposite function and use your opposite function to counterbalance. Opposite pairing meaning that when you do the MBTI test, you either get N intuition or S sensing, T thinking, or F feeling. So in your first 4 cognitive function, your intuition will have an opposite sensing function, and when your intuition is introverted, you will have extroverted sensing function. And when your intuition is an extroverted function, you will have an introverted sensing function. Same goes with the thinking and feeling function. When you have extroverted thinking, you will have introverted feeling. And when you have introverted thinking, you have extroverted feeling. So this is a pair, this is a pair, this is a pair, this is also a pair. This is what I call opposite pairing. For example, INFJ, if we use the NI function too much, they can be in the fantasy land, they can be so hid in the clouds, and some people might say that we are unrealistic or delusion. I don't know whether you notice that sometimes when INFJs, they are walking, they have this zoned out look. It's as though they are in space and they're not really here on Earth. That is because we are not using our SE function. We are not paying attention to the surrounding. I often find myself knocking into furniture at home. So you need your extroverted sensing to kind of balance it so that you don't knock into furniture like me. INFJs love to plan for the future and have a great vision, but we also want to execute our vision. So it's important for us to pay attention to our SE, our extroverted sensing function, because we want to know what resources are available around us, what can we do, and how we can take action towards our dreams. All functions are great, but if you use too much of one and not the other, there's no balance. So the second thing is to be careful of loop, which is your first and the third function. For example, INFJ, this MITI loop can get us into overthinking mode. When you're focusing on your inner state, you don't jump into your external state immediately. It's more convenient to use your other introverted state, which is the TI, introverted thinking. And so we must start to analyze or explain the different ideas that we have. This could mean that we can go into an over-analysis or what I call a conceptual route and not do anything. It's like we study a very difficult concept, but it doesn't have any practical application to the world. And we don't bring the ideas to the external world to see if that is what other people desire or not. That is when we don't use our extroverted feeling to understand the needs of others, and we don't use extroverted sensing to test whether our idea works in the real world. The opposite is true for the extrovert, right? So for example, ENFJ, they have similar function as us, but their extroverted feelings and extrovert sensing are their first and third function, while their NI and TI is their second and fourth function. So an ENFJ might focus too much on other people's needs. So when they are using their extroverted function, it's more convenient for them to go to their other extroverted function, which is extroverted sensing. They might be attracted to material possession and what's valuable in the external world. But if they only rely on their extroverted function, they will find that they are very reactive to the external world. But they never take the time to think about their vision and forget about their purpose. And that may make them feel kind of lost. So when they get into this rut or this loop of focusing on the external world, it's important for them to come inwards and do some self-reflection and focus on their internal world. Third, know that your personality is dynamic and it's not fixed. Okay, let me clarify this. I'm not saying that one day you are an INFJ and then the next day you suddenly become an ESTP. What I'm saying is people tend to bring a fixed attitude to MBTI. This is me. I'm an INFJ and I'm doomed. I cannot change. I love to daydream. I love to plan. And I cannot take any action on my vision. Just because you don't prefer to use a cognitive function doesn't mean that you can't use it. Don't use your personality type as a reason not to grow. From time to time, I get emails from INFJs or introverts saying that they don't like to be INFJ or introverts. They kind of see themselves in a disadvantage for being INFJ. But when I see myself as an INFJ, I see only in terms of cognitive function. So I see cognitive function like magic pens or colored pencil You can pick and choose what you want to use in each situation. Just because a cognitive function is more dominant in your stack doesn't mean that you have to use it all the time. Of course, it's more comfortable to use your most dominant function, but is it useful in all situations? For example, ISTP and INTP, they have their first function, introverted thinking. They are critical, they are rational thinker, they are logical, and this can be very useful in their work and problem solving. But is this as useful in relationship? So when you are in a relationship, you don't want to be always criticizing your partners or like think that the rational way is the best way and focus on being right. In relationship, they have to use their last function, extroverted feeling, and try to understand the other person's perspective and where they are coming from so as to reduce conflict. What MBTI tell you is your preference, but it doesn't dictate your action. If you prefer to use your right hand, it doesn't mean that you can't use your left hand. It's just more uncomfortable or unfamiliar to use cognitive function that you are not used to. Also, MBTI can help you in your relationship. It's good to understand your own cognitive function, but also other people's cognitive function. It's good to understand how people process information and make decisions different from you. Doing so, you'll understand others better, you have less conflict, and you will have better communication with others. It's fun to read about compatibility, like INFJ is compatible with ENFP, but all personality types can work if both parties are willing to take their time to understand each other and where they're coming from. But of course, there are limitations to MBTI. We are so much more than our mind and our personality. So other tools like Enneagram may fill up the missing pieces that MBTI has. Nonetheless, MBTI is a very good tool for beginners to understand more about your mind. If you are an INFJ too, I have a page on my website that is dedicated to INFJs. On that page, you will find articles to understanding your personality type more. There's topics on career, relationships, and emotional issues that INFJ might face. So do check out the links in the video description below.